Hi there, and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Yesterday I did a Friday the 13th special on some of my clippings that I have that I'd taken out of magazines and formed a kind of like my own book with the history of articles starting from like the 70s up to current events. And I ended it at this point, and I thought I would create a Saturday the 14th, which some of you are old enough to remember was a spoof movie on Friday the 13th. And I didn't want to leave you in suspense on this album since I'm not sure when I would show it again. So it's not very much more stuff. So I thought I would wrap it up. So this is where we ended. And if you're watching this one out of order, these are clippings that I've taken out of magazines where Fleetwood Mac was not on the cover or they were duplicates. There have been several instances where Fleetwood Mac is on the cover, but that's just how I received the articles themselves. I did not tear up the magazines as such. I think there's been about 3 or 4 instances like that. And it gave me a lot of shelf space because, trust me, I still have plenty of magazines where Fleetwood Mac is on the cover, or they're just kind of rare magazines that I don't want to tear up to begin with. So, so this would be part 2, Saturday the 14th, and we're going to wrap this one folder up. We started in 1975, and we're up to March of 1980, so into the live album. And this would be an article out of that Song Hits you just saw. Rock Scene. I feel silly because now there are a lot of instances. I mean, I buy a lot of clippings lots, and that does save. You do buy the magazine just for that, right? And also, you save on shippings when you buy the clippings, but it is just kind of funny where I prefaced my whole video on that, and then there's all these examples where the cover's in there. But trust me, when I get to the magazine selection, you won't believe how many magazines I have as well. So even if I did trim these magazines down myself, it's just nonstop. Again, a perfect example of these ones are foreign articles, so I'm not sure where the article had come from. This one's a bit shakier than yesterday. I'm not sure why. Sorry about that. A lot of people were talking about this photo. I think if you recall, talked about it in my referring to my 45s when this was on the cover, and people just completely going crazy because that was a really cool rare shot, and outtakes from that are also pretty rare to come by. Just a really unique Stevie shot. Kind of cool. Rare to see Stevie in on gypsy mode, just like a regular person. It's so cute. The infamous Playboy article. I just always thought that was so pretty with the almost like Stevie was beginning to hand tint it herself. I received a big assortment of Lindsey Buckingham clippings, kind of like a press kit unto itself, and it was for his first, for 1981, for the Law and Order album. And it was basically a press kit, and then inside it had a whole bunch of articles that he had done recently promoting it. And so this is kind of a press kit collection here. So those were the articles, and this piece here would be the, obviously from the record company talking about it, but then adding the articles just to show that it was getting good reviews or not. His little discography, kind of cool. I like those things. I remember this like it was yesterday. This is one of my first articles that I ever got. I'll mention this picture. It's been mentioned probably already. Again, I don't know where I'm at in the other videos in context of this, but this was my, in color, my first photo of Stevie Nicks that I like collected, that really got me collecting photos and articles. And I believe in this same magazine was that photo with this article. I'm pretty sure. This is also a rare session. And there's another piece that goes with this, but I had done it as a page because it was just so unique. And this one is not really in circulation, but there's one similar to it and cleaner copies. But the other one that I took from this article, I separated the article, a page from the article, because it's just the photo, and I wanted the photo to go with similar photos on a scrapbook page I made. Again, I apologize for the not great focus. I could not get that tripod working at all, so I just took it down all the way. So I'm hand holding this while I turn the pages, trying not to be shaky. Gotta tell me in the comments how many you guys recognize or have, or even if you don't have them anymore, do you remember having the magazine and seeing these articles? Some things like this just kind of brought back memories. I think I sent away for this magazine when I was younger. I want to say that it's Scorpions or somebody, like Rockline or something like that on the cover, and I just remember sending away for it, and just funny. Dumb little things I bring up. That pretty much wraps this up. This last page, this last thing I'm going to show you here, which I'd mentioned in the first video on Friday the 13th, was on the back of this, I have this insert onto the, in the back of the album, and it shows, it was an autograph I got of Chris Isaak when he was on tour with Stevie. And it was pretty funny. I tried to tell the story quick. I think that says my name there. And you can make out that it says Chris Isaak, and then he drew the little devil horns, which I thought was funny. But I acquired this autograph in Concord, California. And between sets, I think Chris had gone on first and Stevie was to come on. He had come out to sign autographs at his merch table. And I'm standing there, and I'm standing next to a couple, and I'm telling my girlfriend who's with me also how handsome I think Chris Isaak is. And I'd make a kind of a lewd remark, but not a unclassy, like terrible, bad remark, but just kind of a funny. And because he had his back to me, so it dealt with his backside. But I was just being funny, and I'm smart alecky like that. And this, what I thought was a couple that was standing next to me, the woman walked away. She was chuckling, but then the guy kind of chuckled, and I said something else about just kidding or something like that. But I've loved Chris's music forever, and I actually grew up in Stockton, California, where Chris also grew up, and was telling the gentleman, I always joked if I sold Girl Scout cookies to him when I was younger, because I knew whereabouts the area that he grew up, and I was very close to that area. So after the comment and then talking about that, just small talk, this gentleman, he's just smiling at me and such, and he walks away from me. And the next thing you know, he walks behind the table up to Chris Isaak. It was Chris Isaac's security guard or bodyguard that I was talking to, and he kind of whispers in Chris's ear, and Chris looks up at me, and I'm thinking, oh my God, heaven help me. I was making this joke about his cute little hiney, and now I'm like this, he's probably warning him about that redhead over there, and it was super funny. And Chris just smiles at me, because Chris is pretty deviant if you see him in concert. And So finally, I make my way over there, and I didn't have anything. I didn't know he was going to come out, but these cards were on the table, so he was nice enough to sign it. And like I said, I love the little devil horns, which makes me wonder if he put that on there after the security guard had whispered to him. Um, it's just kind of funny. And I have another time where I met him in a nicer, cleaner autograph as well. But this always makes me think about that moment, and so that just stays in the book for some reason. At some point, maybe when I scrapbook this time, like this ticket stub and pictures from the show, I might put this in there. But I just thought I'd tell you the story because it's kind of funny. So that wraps up this book and my Saturday the 14th extra bonus video to Friday the 13th. And so you guys still have Sunday, so you're into the swing of a weekend, and I hope everybody's doing well. And my regularly scheduled programming will be back on Wednesday. I have a lot of footage I've done, so I might even throw something in on Monday and or Tuesday, but definitely Wednesday. Wednesday and Saturday are my video drop dates. But I'm just trying to make shorter videos and stuff that you guys will like in between if you're tired of the media or you want to see pictures. Just a little bit of everything. So thank you again for joining me. Everybody have a great day. Bye.